China has been using its COVID-19 vaccine candidates on high-risk groups since July, but some are raising red flags since testing is not yet complete. What do the experts say? And when it comes to fighting a pandemic, does the end result justify the means? And China's biggest chipmaker might be facing a big blow. How could U.S. restrictions on exports to the company further complicate U.S.-China tech tensions? Welcome to The Point. Coming to you from Beijing, I'm Wang Guan, sitting in for Liu Xin. China started using 3 of its COVID-19 vaccine candidates for emergency use in July, before clinical trials were complete. Chinese health officials have said the vaccine's safety can be ensured, but their efficacy is yet to be determined. Some medical experts in the West, however, had raised concerns over the premature authorization of the vaccine before the phase 3 trials are complete. Why did China decide to start using the vaccines before the trials are over? What are experts looking for in phase 3 trials? And will such skepticism color the West's views of China's coronavirus virus, no matter what? Joining me to discuss all these are Chen Hong from East China Normal University and Eric Ding, Senior Fellow at the Federation of American Scientists. Welcome, gentlemen. Professor Chen, why don't I start with you? China currently has 11 vaccines. Some are in phase 3 trials, some are not, but it decided that it was time to start using 3 of its vaccine candidates on high-risk people, even though the phase 3 trials are not over yet. Why did Beijing decide to do that?
Yeah, I think actually at this critical time, actually, especially when the general scenario in China has been put largely under control, and then we need to prioritize people who are actually at high risk, who will be actually facing with the likelihood of infection, if there is any possibility that the anti-pathogen can be set at large. I think actually for people in the key professional roles in this emergency application plan, the people such as medical workers, people who work in the transportation industry, the military, the police force, the border control, and as well as other people such as those people who are teachers, who are in the service industry. These are the people who need to take their vaccine to ensure their health at this particular period of time. But of course, when the vaccine is put to the market, anybody who feels the imperative to take the vaccine or who is assessed by the medical professionals to be in need of any injection, they would be have the accessibility to their vaccine. So obviously, actually, the whole process has been in a controlled manner and a coordinated manner and actually carried out scientifically and also orderly.
Right, Eric, in Washington, how do you look at the phase 3 trials? How important is it before countries can roll out the vaccines?
Yeah, I think phase 3 trials are critically important, because you have to realize phase 1 is just a handful of people, less than 50. Phase 2 is just a few hundred. But to truly understand safety, like earlier you're saying, they ensure safety. Well, you cannot ensure safety until you test it on thousands. And phase 3, they test either 30,000, 60,000 people. That is enough people to truly know, are there enough safety signals to ensure that it's better or no worse than the placebo. And similarly, for efficacy, you need to know more precisely how efficacious it is. You can't just have a large range. So phase 3 with 30,000 to 60,000 people helps solve that.
Professor Chen, do you agree with what Eric has said? Basically, he's saying that physical phase 3 trials are crucial before the rollout of a vaccine.
Yeah, I think actually, for all the 3 or even 4 phases, phase 3 is particularly important because it's set to make overall assessments of the efficacy and also safety of the vaccine. And this trial actually, I think, is the basis for the vaccine to get the final approval and also get registered for for it to be put onto the market. We need large samples, and actually, that's phase usually takes about 3 to even 5 months. So that is actually a kind of quite extended and also quite important stage in which people will be assessing any side effects, any negative effects, of their vaccine before actually it is formally launched onto the market. So I think I actually agree that this is very critical.
Right. Talking about the rollout of some vaccines for emergency use, China's National Health Commission official Zheng Zhongwei said on Friday that we've made it clear that the COVID-19 vaccines we put into emergency use are safe. Their safety can be ensured, but their efficacy is yet to be determined. Some health experts argue that a vaccine should be proven both safe and effective before use. Professor Chen, what's your understanding on that issue?
Yeah, I think actually the safety is very important because you never know, because actually there's a reason why the novel coronavirus is called novel. It is a new virus, so there's a lot of uncertainties, a lot of unpredictability as pertains to the virus. So that actually there might be some variations, some mutations that can be developed. So we can never depend upon one single specimen and actually believe that actually to eradicate that specimen that will ensure actually the total final eradication of the whole pandemic. So actually, of course, we're not only testing the vaccine in China, but we are also testing the vaccines overseas in a number of countries in different continents. That will actually be trying to find out whether actually viruses in its various possible mutations might actually be effectively to be eradicated and also to be suppressed by the vaccine. I think that is very important. Yes.
Right. Eric, what do you see as the biggest risks, also benefits perhaps, of emergency use before the testing is complete?
Well, I think emergency use is if there is a raging epidemic locally, which there isn't in China at the moment. I think, you can justify it to some degree. But in general, you should not rush it, especially if you do not have a raging wildfire of an epidemic. And the reason is this. There is a lot of vaccine skepticism. And the more you rush approve before the results come out, you might feel like you won the battle, but you might actually lose the war. Because worldwide, there's vaccine skepticism. If 1/3 of the people do not take it, and your vaccine is, say, 60% effective, and 1/3 don't take it, it's equivalent of only a 40% effective vaccine in terms of the population if 1/3 of the people don't take it. So by scaring people and fueling vaccine hesitancy and vaccine conspiracy theories sometimes by, they're rushing the vaccine, you could actually win the battle but lose the war and ultimately have a less effective rollout of the vaccine.
Well, Professor Chen, in Shanghai, is China rushing a vaccine?
I think actually we're not racing against other countries. We're racing against the time, to curb the pandemic. So I don't think China is in a rush to try to, launch, its own vaccine as soon as possible. This is not their priority. A vaccine that's not safe is simply, of no use. If actually this vaccine finally turns out to be, not safe and even, simply, of no use, then simply, China will be spending so much money, so much energy and also time, to try to, and finally, end up with a virus that is not safe or even simply of no use. That is simply a total waste of time. So I don't think actually China is simply trying to get they're first to produce the vaccine as early as possible. This is not the priority. This is not actually top on the agenda. Not on the agenda at all. Actually, of course, we try to find the ultimate solution as soon as possible, but that will be based upon the safety and also efficacy of the vaccine itself, not actually the speed. Speed is not the priority for China, or nor is it for any other countries.
Well. Eric, can you help us put this in perspective? The Trump administration has also been saying that it's hopeful that they can roll out the vaccine before November. I mean, is that true? Do you buy that?
Well, the trials that are ongoing right now, the Moderna trial and other trials, they should not be done by November or even end of October. But what I think they might do is take an early look and and seeing hopefully how the results look. But in an early look, the signals are not strong enough. We probably will not have enough events being enough infection events to truly know the safety and efficacy signal with sufficient confidence of a narrow range. And that's why I'm saying politicizing this actually worsens hesitancy, because if people see rushing vaccines as a political move, then that would actually fuel more people not taking it because they think it is a political agenda-driven vaccine. And so altogether, I don't think it should be done. I cannot predict whether Trump may try it. His HHS health secretary has now taken over control of vaccine approvals from the FDA. The FDA no longer controls vaccine approvals, the final word. So we don't know, because it's now completely in a political decisions spot.
Well, we have seen a whole lot of geopolitics these days, but that, as health professionals, Eric, how do you look at the importance of global solidarity and global cooperation when it comes to delivering a safe and effective vaccine?
Yeah, I think the world should work together. Right now, the U.S.'s Operation Warp Speed is very separate of the WHO initiatives, the COVAX initiatives. And I think right now, it's a pandemic. This is a global disease. This is not a regional disease. And we should work together and not put all of our eggs in one basket. Put all our bets on one vaccine. Because if one vaccine is not as effective, or another country has a better effective, we should be able to share resources, because we're trying to protect everyone. Because right now the world is halfway shut down because of this vaccine. And working in silos right now just does not benefit humanity.
Professor Chen, what do you think? Do you have anything to add?
Yes, I think actually politicizing the issue is definitely not of any importance. I think at this stage, actually, the most important thing for us to do is actually to ensure actually the testing, especially the phase 3 tests, the trials, will be carried out in a systematic way, in a step by step, and also even when there is any contingency or even any some kind of setback to be arising, these will be dealt with in a very scientific way, so that actually finally will be producing a vaccine that will be actually to be effective not only in one country but also in other countries. There's kind of universality in its applicability in our various countries. That is the top agenda. On the other side, actually, that definitely we should not be weaponizing or politicizing the issue. I think actually in the United States, some people have been using this issue, trying to demonize or trying to criticize China, as a kind of like China's threat or conspiracy theory. That is definitely not to be encouraged, or even should be, condemned. Actually, at this stage, we need solidarity. We need unified efforts to try to, vanquish the disease as soon as possible. Not to actually to do any infighting among the international community, especially, not to be ideologically driven among, the nations.
Right. So many people are looking to China and America to work together, not in separate ways, on delivering a workable vaccine. And many thanks to my guests today, Chen Hong from East China Normal University and Eric Ding, Senior Fellow at the Federation of American Scientists. Thank you both.